All right, everybody. This is the 5th episode of All About Ballroom Dancing. I'm one of your hosts, Todd Combs.
And I am the other host, Mr. Taras Denisenko. Welcome.
Today we have the man,
the myth,
the legend,
the one and only
Powers.
Oh, yeah.
Hey.
Is that how Julia says your name? Good morning. She said Bob Powers.
No, she calls me Bobby.
Bobby.
Bobby, yeah.
Do you like Bobby?
No. No, and when she first came, I yelled at her, and that just made her more adamant about it.
That's funny. So she says it in public as well?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I understand that, though, Bob. You know what? Because I'm adopted, and I met my birth mother a while ago, so I've known her for a long time, but she told me she was going to name me Charles. And I was like, I would have been a Chuck. I don't know how I feel about that.
Or Charlie.
Or Charlie. Yeah. So is that how you feel about Bobby?
Yeah, I mean, it just sounds like a little kid's name.
Right.
Or a girl's name.
Yeah. We won't do that, Bob. We'll call you Bob.
Well, when I was in school, I had this friend that his name was Rob, and I came home from school and I said, I want to change my name to Rob. He was a really cool kid. I'm going to be called Rob. And they said, well, your name's Robert. You are a Rob. I lost interest.
That's funny.
You already had it. There was no fun there.
Yeah.
After that,
You can't have.
So when did Bob come about?
My dad was a Bob. I was a Bob.
Okay.
Went from Bobby to Bob, probably 14, 15, 16 in there.
Oh, so are you a third?
I'm a junior.
You're junior. Okay. So then I see it, but it's kind of one of those things that's funny. If your name Robert and you plan on calling your son Bob, why don't you just call him Bob instead of Robert?
Yeah.
But I could see being
or
a
Richard
junior.
Dick. How do you get Dick for Richard?
I know. That is so weird. There's so many of those, and there's some female ones too, right? I wish I should have planned that ahead.
Wait, there's some female what?
There's some female dicks. Oh, there's names, right? Like Margie and Margaret, right? Like things, but they're more similar. But there's some I swear that are.
Now I'm following you.
Yeah.
I'm a little nervous there. We're going sideways.
So where's this show going? This show going?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, no, for you, Bob. So we'll go over. Obviously, want to hit some of your credentials. I mean, we talked to Julia last week, and I'm still going to put out that episode. I haven't yet, but still, we should reiterate some of your accomplishments. So, 12-time United States rhythm champion.
Yeah,
Ross, you can read everyone.
3-time world professional mambo champion.
Yes. Then what we didn't mention last week is you and Julia are the recipients of the 2012 Dance Sport Hall of Fame Award. That's cool. That's
right. Yeah, that was a big honor.
And then finalists in the World Show Dance Championships.
Then you're members of the World Dance Arts Foundation.
Yeah.
Certified adjudicator with the National Dance Council of America, certified with the World Dance Council.
Yes, and then you own an Arthur Murray Dance Studio in Mesa, Arizona.
I do.
Yes.
And both, Julie, we did talk about this last time, and Bob are the creators and owners of the Latin dance fitness program, Core Rhythms. Yes.
Which Julie is rocking on those live YouTube videos.
Yeah, she is.
Yeah, she did 45 days straight on Facebook.
Yeah, that's crazy. Were you just watching on your sofa?
Not quite. I was in the gym too.
Okay. That works. Yeah. I told Julia
she was out in 100-degree weather at the end there.
Right. I know. That's crazy hot.
And she's like no quit. Like she is all out. All our students that were watching it and following it and trying to go along with it, they were just like, damn, she doesn't stop. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I said, Joyce, someone will ask you to slow down. She's like, this is for me. If they want to join in, that's fine. But this is for me.
Yeah. That's funny. And one thing we noticed when we talked to Julie last week, which is the whole premise of calling you up about this, is she was saying how you and some of the other rhythm champions got together to kind of I don't want to say standardize, but maybe standardize kind of the American rhythm ideology, concepts, actions, things like that. And I thought that was interesting because yes, you can see, and I'm assuming maybe you're part of that Facebook American Rhythm group. As Taras and I are part of that, and you see people talk, and yeah, it's one thing that when people talk about American Rhythm, there's so many, it's just all over the place. So I thought that was, I was like, man, we got to get Bob on here to talk about this, because has anybody talked about it yet? Is it a big, I'd never heard of it. Not that I know.
No, it's really new. And I mean, it all came about during the COVID thing. We were all home, and actually this one guy, I mean, he was a good rhythm competitor, and in my opinion, he could have been a champion had he hooked up with the right person. But he kind of put these feelers out there, said, hey, what about getting some rhythm people together? And it just so happened that all the champions kind of came together. And when we looked at the list, it was almost every single champion from the inception of that style with those 5 dances. So, we started talking, and because the American Smooth has just taken off. I mean, it's being taught all around the world. It's being taught to children. They're doing a clear syllabus that's going to be used all around the world. They really got it together. So, that's kind of, we looked at that, and we asked the question, why is the rhythm struggling? Why is the rhythm not catching on like that? And the answer was pretty clear, that they just didn't feel like it was standardized enough, that there were too drastic opinions on what the basic technique should be. And so, the conversation came about, hey, I mean, we're all the champions. Shouldn't we be the authority on it? And if we could come to an agreement, then hopefully everybody else would buy into it as well. And so it got talked about at first, about actually creating a technique book, because there's nothing out there that really describes the body action, and that's what rhythm is all about. That's what makes our style so unique, is the rhythms that we do with our body. Yeah. And so people kept saying, oh, it's too hard, and we all have our own way of teaching, but what we found was that we all do the same thing. It's just a matter of verbalizing it and finding a way of saying it that we all could agree on. And so it's funny, we tried it as a whole group with like 14 people, but you can imagine 14 champions, 14 egos.
Yeah.
Right.
All coming together at one time. It got bad fast. So we broke up into small groups, and then within the small groups, we collaborated, and then just the group leaders got together, and then it finally went to, like 4 people who were kind of the representing, Fred Astaire's, Arthur Murray's, independents, and then trying to create something that we all could vote on and accept. And we're almost there, but I know in our first meeting, we had 4 people. We spent 2.5 hours, and we didn't even take a step yet. That was just preparation.
Right.
2.5 hours. Finally, after 5.5 hours, we actually took a forward step.
Wow.
So it's been about 40 hours now, and we're almost done the box step.
So you think this will be? No, so you think you might have this book done by 2040, maybe?
We're hoping. That might be a little optimistic, but we're hoping.
Go ahead, Taras. Sorry.
I was gonna say 2.5 hours of just, what was it? Just talking about posture, or y'all just figuring out, like, what are we gonna start with?
Well, we broke it down. We decided, like most books go from the feet up. Well, rhythm to us starts in our body, goes into our hips, goes to the leg, then the leg causes the other leg to move, and then the feet and ankles get involved. And so that's how we do it. We talk about the back and the muscles and what part of the body moves and what generates, and the rotation and which way the hip goes, the track that it's on, and does the rib cage go opposition or does it follow it? And all those things had to be ironed out. And the ankle, does it bend? Does it stay straight? Do we go inside edge of foot? Do we go all the way to the inside edge of the toenail? I mean, do we use the word drift or shift or move? Or
right?
I mean, every single word got dissected so that it's very, very clear. Excuse me. And it's pretty cool. I mean, it keeps getting better and better every time we meet and talk about it now.
And how often are you guys meeting?
Every week, and every week with the whole group, and then every week with our subgroups, and then maybe a couple times within the week with one-on-ones.
So does each subgroup have a specific thing they're in charge of, or is it just to cut down all the, contradictory?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's several different departments. There's the history department. There's the technique department. There's the media department, and you can pick what groups you want to belong in. But the tough one, the media stuff's been easy. The promoting, all that stuff, everybody's all on board. It's quick and go, and creating all the websites and Facebook pages and social media, all that stuff. That's pretty easy. But when it comes to the technique, yeah, we're much better in smaller groups. So really just 4 voices come together and say, okay, here's what I got from everybody. Hash it out, go back to the groups. Okay, here's what we came up with. Hash it out, come back together. And it's just been going back and forth like that.
Right. Okay, so who is, because you said when we chatted earlier or emailed, you said you can list who's in it. And I just preparing it, I wrote down a bunch of the names of the last, I don't know, all the American Rhythm champions, but I'm wondering who is in the group.
All right, so the first ones when they split the division, well, there was Charles and Gene Panatello. They were the first real American style champions in a format similar to what we have now. Yeah. Then from then went to Jan Mattingly and Joe Lozano. They won both divisions, the smooth and the rhythm, when it's split. After them was Forrest Vance as the rhythm champion. So all these people were in there, Forrest Vance and Susie Thompson. Then it went to
you guys.
Then it was us, yeah. It was us, Joey and I. So we're in there. Then from us, it went to Tony Dovolani with Ina. So those 2 are in there. And then Tony Dovolani with Elena Grilenko. She's in there as well. Then it went to Jose de Camps and Joanna. They're in there.
Right, okay.
And it went to Decho and Bree. They're in there.
Okay.
Then to Emmanuel. He's in there. Liana hasn't shown up, but Emmanuel is. Then from Emmanuel, it went to, where are we?
Nazar,
and then Nazar and Arena. So they're both in there. And then from Nazar and Arena to Paramanos, and they're in there.
Okay, so pretty much everyone except Liana.
Everyone except Liana, yeah.
Right.
Curious minds want to know, is she even dancing anymore? I mean, she was pretty spectacular.
I don't think she is. And when I used to talk to her, I drove a couple times back to the airport, and she'd say, no, I want to go back to school and go back to Russia and be with my family. She was very family oriented, and really just saw this as something she wanted to do, for that short period of time, and then move on.
Interesting. Yeah.
That is really crazy. That's really interesting.
Best girls on the floor, and no interest.
She was incredible.
It's funny, right? Sometimes like when you hear those celebrities who do blockbuster films and they're like, I just don't want to do any more films, and everyone's trying to be an actor, right? And they're like, how?
Yeah, right.
Right. So I mean, that's cool, right? Do what you want to do, right?
Yeah, sure. And this was kind of cool. They so once we got on this group, one of the guys said, hey, let's do interviews, but let's have you interview each other. So they paired us off, and they kind of put like people who were sort of against each other through the years, like Jose and I.
Yeah.
I always said if there was one guy that could have beat me, it was Jose. So it was interesting to have one-on-one interviews. He got to ask me anything he wanted. I got to ask him anything he wanted.
That's pretty cool.
You'll see those on Facebook coming up.
Oh, good.
I had an interesting story with Jose, and I think it was pretty funny that when Wendy and I were competing, I think he was still competing, but he was dancing with Cheryl Burke, and he went to International Latin. And I was like, dude, why did you leave American Style Rhythm? I was like, you're so good. And he's like, well, I got sick of waiting. And I was like, what do you mean you got sick of waiting? He's like, well, I'm waiting for Bob to get off the floor, and then Tony's next. And he's like, I ain't gonna wait for Tony. So that was funny.
He said to me, I'm wondering, man, how's that white guy doing rhythm like that? And he said, then I found out you had a Mexican coach. It all made sense. Thanks.
Nice.
That's right. Wasn't it Rick Venezuela was your coach?
Rick Venezuela, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That's cool. So in all this, Bob, do you have a specific role in all this, or is it just your subgroup? Because you said there's kind of four, maybe there's people that are kind of leading the group when it's all said.
No, I wouldn't say that. I think we're all I mean, everybody's great in that group. I mean, there's not a bad person in there. So we're really all equal. We all have equal votes. But I think just because, I'm kind of the Arthur Murray guy. I represent Arthur Murray's. Tony's on the Fred Astaire dance board. In fact, I think he's one of their directors. So he's kind of the Fred Astaire guy. And then I think they kind of pick the old guys. It's like, and then Jose, and then Forrest. So we're like the four oldest. We've been around the most. So I think just kind of as a sign of respect, they used us as the sounding board in the end. But really, everybody's equal. Everybody has an equal say.
That's good. So you don't make him kiss your ring or anything like that?
Well, I gave it a shot, but it didn't go over well.
It didn't work. That's cool. So I think our last kind of main question until we get more, we'll probably get a little more in this, but is there like, what stage are you in right now with everything? I mean, you kind of said it, but I just want to ask it out, ask it more clearly. So what stage is everything in right now?
So we're really in a developmental stage. And it's funny because there's a lot of curiosity out there. I mean, because we've put our Facebook page out, and so everybody's wondering, well, what role are you going to try and play? And really, our main goal is to standardize American rhythm and to try and get it accepted worldwide. That's really our number one mission. And so, I mean, we're not trying to take over the dance world and say, hey, this is the way it's done and that's it. But there's some power behind all those years, 40 years of champions saying, hey, we all agree on this technique. We're all within this. Now, how quick we get on a foot, or how fast we straighten our leg, or how big we rotate our hips, that's all individual. But within that framework, we're all in complete agreement. I mean, every time we've had a disagreement and somebody gets up and they say, do it, just get up and do it. Mm-hmm. And we look at it and we say, we're all doing the same thing.
Right.
So we're really, it is in a developmental stage, and really we just want to create a standardization so that anybody coming over from Europe, these high-level dancers that come over and they decide, hey, I'm going to start teaching American-style rhythm, or I'm going to compete in American-style rhythm, that the first thing they would think of is, hey, what are the champions doing?
Right.
And, when Julie and I were champions, I mean, the web was just coming out, and we grabbed the name Rhythm Champions. And so we had that website, and we weren't really doing anything with them. So it was perfect. It was a perfect fit. We handed it over to the group, and I'm really happy about that it really has become the Rhythm Champions website.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. Towards the end, we need to make sure you tell us all the places that are, the people listening can find it.
Sure.
Is this something, because you said it's not a, like you said, it's a guideline. It's not a rule book. It's not going to be a syllabus or anything like that. It's, I think it'd be great though, if you printed out a little copy, and when you go to the dance competitions and some of those Latin people enter rhythm, at the end of it, you could hand this to them and say, good job doing your Latin on the American rhythm floor. Maybe
next time read the book.
Yeah, read this book. Just carry a bag with you, Bob, and just kind of hand it out to people as you go.
But right, I mean, that's when people come over, that's the first thing they do is, so what's the difference?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a way for us to make it very clear.
Remember, Lucas worked with us. Lucas Rogowski worked with us quite a few years, and when he first came over to the US, he's like, why are you all stepping on a bent knee? Like, what is that? He's like, he just didn't get it. And he's like, this is, of course, with his his Polish accent, and he was much more colorful in the words he used, but it was so funny. He's just like, what's with the bent leg? He's like, it's ugly, it's not. And I was like, no. Here's the logic behind it. But it is funny. It's like, I guess it's their habit. It's what they've been trained to do, and they want to understand why. And then they coming out with something written that they can read and be like, oh, that makes sense. Obviously, that's a good idea. Because it's how many years it's been that, like, you see people competing on the floor and they're good dancers, but they're not representing American style. So, but when it comes to marking it, like, how do you mark it? Do you mark the guy that's going on doing authentic American style, or do you go to the stronger dancer? That's always the struggle.
That's a big question. Yeah. It's so difficult to mark somebody who's not as good a dancer as you look out and you see these great dancers, but they're doing international Latin basically. And then next to them is somebody not as good, but they're doing good American style. So which do you mark?
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
People get mad, but it's just so hard to mark somebody over somebody who's obviously much better.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Whereas like timing, that's clear. If someone's just jacking up the timing, that's easy.
Right.
Actually, I would like to mention that about, can you tell us your official view? Because we've had, what was it? There was the Arthur Murray judges meeting we had once. And I had always grown up learning that and taught that if you're judging and someone is off time, they could be the best dancer physically out there, but if they're off time, like say in Mambo or something, they're just off time, that they would not be marked. They'd be marked last or not marked first, right? Or marked down. And so what is your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. If they're off time, no doubt about it.
Right. So good.
That's the golden rule. If you're not on time, we can't even look at you. There was just a competition. What was it? I can't remember what it might have been the Galaxy last year, that there was this really good couple in it. And I marked them first in every dance except Mambo. And in Mambo, I had to mark them sixth. And only because there wasn't a seventh couple on the floor, because they were off time. That's one absolute. I mean, if you're talking about a slightly flexed leg and a straight leg, okay, that's a judgment call. But when it comes to timing, no way. Timing, posture, lead follow. I mean, those are absolutes.
Okay, here's the timing thing. So competing independently, you know, at an Arthur Murray event, you're going to have everybody dancing rumba on slow on one. But if you go an independent event or Fred Astaire event, like they're dancing their rumba, their slow is on a 3. So if you're dancing a mixed event with Arthur Murray versus Fred Astaire, or Arthur Murray and Fred Astaire on the floor, and you look at the rumba, what is your thoughts, or has there been discussion about that? Or is there reasoning behind that?
Not a lot of discussion. I mean, it always gets brought up, but it's never going to change. I mean, who's going to give in? Arthur Murray's, Fred Astaire's?
Right.
It's not going to happen. So it'd kind of be a waste of time. I mean, you get used to it, and I've taught quick, slow, and when you do it enough, it kind of makes sense, and you get used to it. I've been raised with slow, quick, so you know that's natural for me. But it's okay. I mean,
yeah,
just getting used to it. Yeah, it's just a little.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is interesting when you look at the floor and you're watching like all the, like those different timing preferences. I'm just like, whoa, it's just interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, sometimes I can't tell when it's in the middle of, you know, some specific choreography, but then when they go back into something more noticeable, yeah, you can tell it's different.
Yeah.
And I wish it wasn't that way. I mean, it is a little weird when you think about it. We've all kind of accepted it because it is what it is, but it'd be nice if there was just one.
Yeah.
But I am glad that you said that, because I mean, I'm going back to timing for a second, because in that big judges conference, I mean, there was, what, Ross, wouldn't you say there was at least a quarter of the people, if not more than a quarter of the judges, who said, oh, you should just, it's up to your own, it's up to you how you judge, you know, timing, that's up to you. And I was looking across, and guys named Urs was like, wait, he's like, he said when he learned to judge in Germany or Poland, or wherever Urs is from, wherever that guy's from, that they had 6 couples, and they all did something. They danced to be a specific place. And if the people judging didn't mark them how those dancers that had the people organizing this didn't have them placed, then they were wrong. It was like a test. And, you know, and the first thing it was, whoever's off time is last, easy, bam. And then they had to figure out all these other aspects of it. But that he said, you know, he's like, everyone grew up knowing that. But yeah, there was a quarter of the people were saying, no, it's whatever you really think. And I was just like, wow. And then they had a little debate, and it went nowhere. You know?
Yeah, I heard about this.
Oh,
yeah.
You heard about it? Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, from that, Urs and I organized a dance camp for professionals. And then we put together this meeting for the Fall Forum or TSC, one of those. And it was on specifically judging. And so we had couples actually making mistakes. And then we had all the judges that were there judge it. And it was so interesting because not only is that timing thing was an issue, but because of who somebody is, in their mind, they could never mark them down.
Right.
So, and we had that person specifically do really bad footwork, and yet they still marked that person to win, even though they were stepping on toes when they should have been stepping on heels, and vice versa, clunking on heels coming out of twinkles. But because of who they were, they marked them first. And so that's what the whole meeting was about, that it doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter who they're dancing with. It doesn't matter what their title is. If they're doing these things wrong, you have to mark it. And you have to have the guts to stand up to it.
That's a big thing right there. You got to have the guts to do that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I wish they did that, because after that meeting, I texted Bob Long and I was like, Bob, I think we could spend more time talking about this. And what you couldn't do it then, it was too late. But how you all did it, I wish there was like wish we did that, the franchise convention or something, or after Superama, sorry, when the judges meet, something where that you can have that again with everyone, because that's important. And I do remember, I wanted to mention this one thing, that when I was younger, I remember there was one judge, I remember who it was. I'll tell you after this. I don't want to say him on the show, but I remember one time he said, I didn't mark Bob and Julia first in the swing. That it was a Arthur Murray competition, and he's like, I love them. I like someone else's a little better. And he literally was like, I don't know if I should have done that. Like he was going to get in trouble. And that's cool to hear you say that, because I mean, if it was, whoever is number one, if you, for some reason, that's why there's 15, 14, 16 judges out there. If you don't like it, for some reason, you have a reason, don't mark it.
As long as it's a reason, it's something you believe in, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. I'll tell you it is after this show, and you can send out someone to go break their legs.
They're not working for Arthur Murray's anymore, are they?
Oh, they are. You'll see them.
Let that slip by. No, I remember the year we had the best marks ever. Out of 15 judges, we had 14 first places and then 1 6th place. And then who did they ask to write the article that year in Dance Beat? Was the one that marked us 6th. And if you read that article, you thought we didn't even make the first cut. And so that one was tough to take. And the first time I saw this person, she came running over to me and she goes, it wasn't personal. I said, man, it sure looked personal. And reading that article, it sure felt personal. But hey, if that's what you believe, that's what you believe.
Sure. Well, go ahead. I was going to say, going back to that timing thing, like that whole timing argument was a world-class, world champion dancer said, I'm going to, he's the one that believed that if you're a better dancer and you're not necessarily on time, I'm still going to mark the better dancer. I was like, whoa, there's a world-class
sure you know who
dancer.
That was, Bob.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
I'm an artist and I can,
yes,
what I think is what I think. There's no system to it.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. It's like,
no, it has to be systematic. I mean, it's not just an art. There is some form to it, and there are rules. We all have a book that we learn by. And if we're not going to apply those rules, then why do we even have qualified judges? Just have the audience.
Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly.
We're supposed to be educated.
Right. Now in this, I wanted to ask one little a couple questions is, in this, when you heard this was going to happen, I wanted to know what your thoughts, you were like, okay, this is coming in. We're getting on board with this rule guideline. I want this. Like, what are Bob's hot points? However many you have, what are these are what I believe in American rhythm should be there. And if anybody doesn't believe it, you're dead to me. Okay. Maybe not.
I don't know if you mean like specific technique things?
Anything. It could be just generalization of anything.
All right, like things that are really important to me is like swing for me. If I don't hear the music, I better be able to figure out what you're doing pretty quick. Mm-hmm. If I don't see an accented downbeat, if I don't see a little bit of a rhythm to the body, I mean, like I say, if I'm watching it 8, 16 measures and I can't figure out what dance it is it cha-cha, is it swing? That's not good. I need to be able to see right away what I feel in the music. So that's a big deal to me. Bolero, it needs to be very lyrical to me. It needs to be very emotional and full and free. If it starts to look too rhythmical, that's rumba or that's international rumba.
Right.
Bolero to me should be very, very lyrical. What else? I want to see Cuban motion and rumba. Good Cuban motion, flex legs.
Yeah.
Mambo, same thing. Breaks on a bent leg. When I see those straight-legged legs jamming straight on rock steps, that sends me up a tree.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a syncopation in mambo. You know, when we were in Haiti, we did this show at this party, and there were 400 Haitians. And when they played mambo, man, like 399 of them would be on time. You know, and the one guy that was off time, he was American. And so I'd ask them, what do you guys listen to? And they all said the same thing, da da da, da da da. The 4-and-1. I mean, we all know there was mambo, right? And then mambo slowed down and eventually became triple mambo, and triple mambo eventually became cha-cha.
Yeah.
And so that 4-and-1 is in there. That syncopation is in there. And when I don't see people dance that, it doesn't look authentic to me. Now, that's not a hard, fast rule because I rarely see it. But for me, it's important. I mean, that would be my winner, the one that showed me that little 4-and-1 in there, where they're doing something with their knees or with their rib cage or their body, something that shows me the little da-da-da.
Yeah. Okay. That's good. How about things like in cha-cha and rumba, straight leg crossovers? Does that bother you? Does that not bother you? Is it?
I don't like it. I don't teach it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. To me, the reason the name rhythm comes about because we rhythm everything in our bodies. So if we're dancing a crossover break, we're showing a 2 3 and that's what's happening with the music.
Right.
And if I'm not seeing that rhythmically, that's a big minus for me. Mm-hmm. So the guy doing it would get my mark. The guy jamming his leg straight and showing a single action, lose my interest.
Now, would you say out of the six people in a final, how many of those people are doing straight leg rumba crossovers and cha-cha crossovers?
Today?
Yeah.
Probably the majority.
Yeah, right. I was leading you with that question.
I mean, they're getting clever with their choreography. They kind of leave the basics out now, so that we can't judge apples against apples.
Right.
Yeah, because the current rhythm champions are really, really heavily influenced from international stylings. They
are, but I'll tell you this: they're in my group, and they're adamant about the technique that we've all talked about.
Yeah. Now, do you think do you think this group will help their dancing?
Well, I think they're great dancers. I don't know. I think it's going to help dancers to come because I think it will. I think it will have a powerful influence in the future. That when people see this technique book that 40 years of champions have agreed on, I think it'd be difficult for them to do anything else. At least that's my hope.
Right. Yeah.
You know, I never wanted to be, hey, it's my way or the highway, but 40 years of champions, it should be our way or the highway. I mean, that's a whole different statement. It's not one person's opinion. It's every champion we've had.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Like there's a few and just to bring up a name, Eugene and Maria, like their school, they produce some outstanding dancers. And I think their couple is the current rhythm champions, I believe. But do you talk to Eugene at all about this stuff?
I do. In fact, he was the one that said to me, you know, we have no problem teaching smooth in our school. The kids love it. I said, why not rhythm? He said, it's too confusing to them. He said, I don't know how to market it to them. When I try, they look at me and they say, well, what's the difference? Mm-hmm. And this is interesting too. He said, you know what? I always did American style because to me, I was able to rhythm my body so much more. And my coach, Rick Valenzuela, who was an international competitor, did American style. He did American style swing. He did American style cha-cha. And he said, coaches would say to him, you do your swing different. You like sit down, not up. Or you're bending your legs.
And it's so funny you say that Eugene said that, because I remember watching them compete and I'm like, and I know they represented the United States, and I watched them. I was like, you could always tell a couple from the United States. They just have some sort of different edge to them. And I don't know if that was purposeful or if that was influenced from being in the States or what, but like he for sure looked like he had some American style influence to him intentionally or not.
You know what? It's always been frustrating to me when an international guy sees something in American style they like and they incorporate it. They're brilliant. When an American style dancer takes something from international, we're stealing Latin.
Right, right.
And it seems like it's always been that way. It's so frustrating.
Yeah.
I mean, Donnie starts doing West Coast swing and he's brilliant. We do a hitch kick and they want to kick us out.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Some of that West Coast in Latin or in jive, right? It's like,
yeah.
Right. They all do it now.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I swear I saw one competition where it looked like it was a fast West Coast competition. You know, I was like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about those West Coast, and just to get off of rhythm for a second, the West Coast elements being thrown into Foxtrot?
I don't mind a little flavor here and there, but when it goes on for a while, I mean, they're doing 8 bars, 10 bars.
Yeah.
Is 8 bars too much?
I think so.
Yeah.
Consecutively, yes.
Right.
Yeah, a little hint of it here or there, okay, because the music's jazzy. I mean, the problem is the music is really influencing the dancers. I mean, the dancers are responding to what they're hearing, and it suits what they're playing. So is it the dancer's fault or is it the DJ's fault?
Right. Some of those like postmodern jukebox songs, I mean, they're very, you know, I mean, that style, that new Foxtrot style of music, it's so jazzy / swingy.
Not to take you back to rhythm, but that's actually another part of our group is to try and to go to the DJs and say, hey, this is what's good for us. This is what is real American style rhythm music, to make sure that it stays on track.
Yeah.
Because I really think the music does have a huge influence on what the couples are doing.
I mean, right, because you should, right? Your dancing should reflect even your choreography. There should be, would you say you should see if you videotaped one couple doing, let's say, swing, and then the same couple dancing their same choreography and swing, but have 2 180-degree different songs that they're playing, there should show some different feeling in the choreography.
Should, right?
Right? Yeah.
I remember years ago, my coach hired a bongo player and brought him in on the lesson, and he'd have the bongo player change energy, change rhythms, change feeling, and we had to respond to whatever he did.
That's cool.
That was one of the toughest lessons. Frustrating.
Like area meeting dance session idea.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like today, the Viennese waltzes are very heavy, you know, like dramatic, almost depressing. And I think it makes the couples look heavy and
depressing.
Depressing. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Yeah, music's a big influence.
In your idea, like if is there anything you have in cha-cha, rumba, swing, bolero, mambo that you've instituted in this guideline? Is it? Well, I should say, is any of them done yet?
40 hours, like I said, and we're just about done the rumba box. And really we're only going to talk about the basic. It's not going to be a syllabus. It's strictly basic technique. So we're very close to the rumba. And I think we spent the most time on the first dance because we're trying to find language that we all agree on. I mean, like I gave the example of, you know, I always use the word drift. You know, I allow my body to drift. Well, another one says, well, I shift. And then another one says, well, can't we just simplify and say move? Or we were talking about muscles and because bones don't move themselves, a muscle has to engage. There has to be a contraction of a muscle. So, you know, an isometric contraction or a concentric contraction or an isotonic contraction. And then, well, do we want to get into words like that? You know, because a lot of people don't know what those mean. Well, we're not talking about somebody learning a box step for the first time. We're talking about people who want to be a champion. So it should be a high level. And these are words they should learn if they don't know. So ironing all that stuff out, it was a big deal. And I think once we did that in the rumba, I think it's going to be a lot easier in the other dances.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could just include in your book a little dictionary of terms.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
You got to get a
rumba.
doctorate before you can read the book.
Yeah. Right. So you've just started with rumba, and that's as far as we've gotten. But that's establishing all the ground rules to all the other dances anyway. So then, okay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's good. I think we can move on to some fun questions.
Well, this was kind of interesting though. There's one thing I want to add. It's
Yeah.
Most of my group was Russian, and one of them has a degree that can actually teach English. And so here's these Russians teaching me English, correcting my grammar. but what's interesting is because they are Russian and they've learned the language, that they're very specific about what a word means. So when you use a word, it can't just be, well, this is a generic word I've been using all my career. It has to really mean what you want it to mean. And so they forced me to be very specific with the words that I chose. And I really enjoyed that.
Yeah,
cool.
I could see
Cleaned
how
up my language.
they could get confused with drift, because that's probably not taught in the term or the meaning you're intending it to be.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a vague meaning. What does drift mean exactly?
Yeah, to someone learning English, that's a very challenging word.
Yeah.
Okay, so now Bob, into fun questions.
Okay.
Now we're starting some random questions.
Random questions. So my trademark question for everybody is going to be, what kind of beer do you like and why?
What kind of beer do I like? Wow, actually, I like this this new IPA, Blood Orange IPA. Because I love that taste of fruit.
Nice. I love IPAs. So Blood Orange.
You can't get into IPAs.
I'm not a big beer drinker. If I drink 4 beers a year, that's a lot.
Oh, okay.
I just remember years back we were talking one time and I was like, I think I might ask you, like, what kind of beer do you like? You're like, anything I could put fruit in.
See, all right then. I'm consistent.
Yeah.
So are you a wine drinker?
I am. Red wine.
Okay, what kind of red wine? What's your drink?
I like good red wine, Napa wines. I've tried Italian wines, and I did find one that I liked, but it's too expensive for me. Most of the Napa wines I like.
Napa wines are good.
Now you put me on the spot. I can't think of one that.
Are they dry? Are they sweet?
Yeah, I like heavy, full-bodied red wines.
Okay. And you have to like scrape your tongue off when you're done. Okay, so I have one now. So what's your Netflix shows right now?
My Netflix is Kingdom.
Oh, that's right. Julia said that. Kingdom.
The Viking show.
Oh, Vikings. Yeah.
Well, we just finished Vikings. Yeah, we're waiting for the rest to come out. But there's one that's similar to the Vikings on Netflix, and it's The Last Kingdom.
The Last Kingdom. Yeah, The Last Kingdom. That's good. Ross, you haven't seen that, right?
No.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's like the 4th season now, right?
Yeah, it's very similar to Vikings. In fact, it's the same family.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Well, Ragnar.
Ragnar Rothbrooke or whatever.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, I've watched
both shows focus on that family.
Oh, so I've seen one season, and maybe I didn't put that together yet. I don't know why. Okay. Yeah. Have you watched Ozarks yet?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Man.
No
spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah, he's in the third episode of the last season, right?
No. We're in the first. We just finished the first or maybe the second episode of the 3rd season. And I was all for it. Like I was all for it. I mean, it is a tough show to watch, but Wendy was like, let's slow down on this one. It's a little it's heavy.
A lot of people who watch that say it just makes me feel dirty.
Yeah.
Like that's their feeling from it. It's kind of a Breaking Bad kind of thing.
Yeah. There's also like no upside. There's no like, okay, maybe they're going to get through this. It's bad scenario after bad scenario after bad scenario. And
they're bad people. So do you want them to get through it? I mean, you kind of want them to be punished. They're really bad people.
Right.
The only one is, what's her name? The girl, Ruth. Ruth is the only one where like, oh man, I hope Ruth gets out of this, but
yeah,
I don't know.
I love that character.
Yeah.
We started with Taras and me and Lisa and Taras, and when we started, have you ever seen Outer Banks?
No.
Outer Banks is a good show. It's like a treasure hunting kind of show or kind of thing. Did you like the Goonies back in the 80s? Did you?
Yeah.
If you like treasure hunt, it's kind of has that vibe of. It's crazy how all these new shows are influenced by the 80s. I mean, they're doing some like straight up having a lot of 80s references in their show. Never Have I Ever is good. You ever seen? I'll name a couple we're watching, Bob. You can see if you ever seen that. Christina Applegate is. Oh no, that's a teen show. It's kind of a feel good, happy show. Atypical is good. If you ever seen Atypical, Dead to Me as Christina Applegate, that's pretty good. Do you like scary shows, Bob?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen The Haunting of Hill House?
No.
That's good. Oh, that's a good one.
How about Lock and Key? Have you seen that one?
Oh yeah. That's good.
Yeah, we all watched that. That was good. Yeah. We just announced season 2 of that, I think.
Oh yeah.
But, that show was funny because it was like I thought it was going to be like this kids kind of like really, I don't know, just young show, but it's got some pretty good content to it.
Yeah.
How about Animal Kingdom on Amazon Prime?
I have not seen. Wait, now is that it's a real show? It's not like a documentary, right?
Right.
And is that the one where they get kind of crazy? The animals get weird or something?
No, it has nothing to do with animals. It's about this Southern California family that they're all crooks. That the mother has adopted some of the kids, had some of the kids, and she was a crook. She was a homeless kid and just grew up bad and raised her kids that way. And they just, they steal, they pull these bank jobs and how they get away with it and how they plan the jobs. It's kind of interesting.
Sounds familiar. Maybe okay, I'll have to look at that again. That sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah, it's sort of like what was the biker show?
Yeah, Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy. It's kind of along those lines.
Yeah. Do you like Western shows? Have you ever seen oh gosh, what is it? Lord, now I'll have to. It's one of my favorite shows. Well, there's a couple. I'll think of it.
On Netflix?
It's on Hell on Wheels.
Yes. Yeah, I got into that one for a while.
That was good. And it was on Netflix. Things go on and off. And then there was that one that was on HBO that was so good about oh gosh.
Not Westworld.
Not Westworld. No, it was the first one. It was like in the early 2000s. It was like one of the main, there was like 9 seasons of it. And it was HBO's, one of their staple shows for a while. Deadwood.
Deadwood, yeah.
Yeah.
It was hard to understand sometimes.
Oh, they said they made words up. They used a lot of, they counted, I think they counted, there was like 60 something F-bombs on average in each episode.
Show? Wow.
Yeah, it was average.
Yeah, sometimes it was difficult to understand, but yeah, I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, they made a bunch of words up, they said. I kind of thought it was real, and I looked into it, and they said they just made some stuff up. They thought it would be kind of tie people into the show. But you should check out The Haunting of Hill House. It came out 2 years ago, and it's a haunting story. And they said they're supposed to release it, but they haven't. But they've decided to do one of those shows that's similar. I guess there's a haunting book series of different hauntings, and it's going off of that. So they're doing Haunting of Hill House season 2 later this year, but they're doing a Haunting of something Manor that's coming out soon. But they're pretty good, kind of freaky, kind of weird stuff.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. Now for music at the studio, do you like authentic music or top 40 music?
I don't usually like top 40. I don't like it. I like obscure things. And I don't like old time authentic. I don't mind it.
Right. I guess that's what I mean. Because sometimes I like hearing, I'll put on like an 80s song that I know is a rumba, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to rock to this. Or like a classic rock song. Because like our students generally are the classic rock era. So, there's a, Simon and Garfunkel song. Let me put that on, and it's cool.
No, I tend to like newer music.
Yeah, no Simon and Garfunkel, huh?
No. No.
That's cool. Yeah. And man, I will say though, when you watch Netflix shows, though, whoever puts the music behind those shows, they come out with some of the new music that's not played on the radio too much. And I always have my sound hound on when I'm watching a TV show, and I'm just capturing the songs constantly because they have some good music that they.
Yeah, the song from Narcos, great rumba.
Ooh, that's Narcos song. That's such a cool song.
Yeah, I love stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay, we have one more for you, Bob.
Okay.
We saved this for last because this is the most important. I'm sorry, but this is more important than your rhythm stuff, the little side thing you and your friends are doing.
You're not gonna ask me which dog I like better, are you?
No. This is
we would never. Never do that to you.
This is more important than that. So this is, when are you going to finally join us to play some Call of Duty?
Yeah. Years. We've been talking about it for years now.
Video games for years, Bob. You haven't enjoyed
when I get not embarrassingly bad about it.
Juan plays. No one's worse than Juan.
Yeah, that's right.
You never heard the story. So Chris and Juan used to come over for lessons, right? The two couples would come over and stay for the weekend, and we'd have lessons and go out to dinner, and Chris would practice for hours on his NBA, so that when we played video games at night, he could kick my butt in NBA and say that he beat me at that. I'd say, Chris, if you spent that much time on your rumba, we'd have a lot better lessons.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Hilarious.
But he did kick my butt.
Yes, he did kick your butt. Yeah. Now, did you start with like Atari? Did you play games back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
You an Atari guy?
Atari, Asteroids.
Asteroids, yeah.
Pac-Man.
You know, I was cleaning out my upstairs here, and I went to a box. I opened it up, and I had my Atari 2600 in there. I have Pole Position and Dig Dug still in the wrapper. It's never opened up. It's crazy. I got Nintendo 64 and my Xbox One and my PlayStation, everything. So, but you grew up with all those consoles.
Yeah.
How about I'll ask him the next one, Taras. See which one that is.
Yeah. Okay. So were you an 80s and 90s arcade kid? Did you go to the mall and play the...
Yeah. When Asteroids came out, yeah. I mean, that one sucked me in. I could spend hours doing that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. All that, bringing a chunk of change and going down.
Yeah. How long you make that quarter last?
That's right. And now, then put the additional quarters.
Yeah. Right on the
you're
top.
Like,
yeah.
Yep.
Now, do you own?
Don't even think about standing behind me.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. elbow. I'm like competing. Like, boom. Do you own Xbox One?
Yeah. I do.
Okay, you do.
Yeah.
So that's what I thought.
Yeah. Did you ever get a headset?
I have one. I can't figure out. It's that same one. I can't figure out how to use
it.
Okay. Our next Zoom meeting, Bob, is working the headset.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. And then now real quick, what are one or two of your favorite all-time games?
Doom. Yeah, I like the first person shooters.
Yeah, when that came out, that was crazy.
Yeah. And even the newer ones.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, but I remember when Doom came out, that whole concept was new, like that first person running through a doorway, and that was cool.
Yeah, and there were a few of them. There was a few of them like that, like assassin kind of games, and first-person shooters.
I'm playing a crazy one called Borderlands. It is so fun. It's like an open world first-person shooter. You just go around just shooting people and getting more ammo to shoot more people. But it's all like aliens and like crazy. But the story behind it is funny too.
Yeah,
it's just hilarious.
That's cool. Yeah, awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Bob. I know you're working and probably want to stop and talk about video games for another 30 minutes, but
yeah, absolutely. And headsets.
Yeah.
Now we know for sure you have a headset. We know for sure you have an Xbox One. So now it's just getting online, and it's me, Taras, Chris, and Juan, where we have like our own little thing going. We have like a little clan. So we always need someone that we send out in front of everybody to see if it's clear.
and you got to remember, I get up at 5:30 in the morning.
Why do you do that?
I know that's what's happening. I'm going to bed.
By the time you guys are playing, you're probably just finishing up.
Well, our clan tag is rhythm.
Yeah, it's rhythm.
That's
we're all.
You got to be part of that.
Yeah.
Sounds intriguing.
I know.
Cool,
man. Well, thanks, Bob. We appreciate you being on the show and explaining to everybody this awesome information that's going to be there for, everyone. This is definitely needed in the American rhythm scene.
Yeah, it's long overdue.
Yeah, so glad you're doing it.
Thanks.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, we appreciate it, definitely. And we'll
probably have to do it again because my video didn't work.
Okay.
Well, I said practice. It's not going to be just Bob on the whole time, and I said we'll use our videos. But actually, I have my video going over here, so it's actually done, you'll see my video and not just my weird face and that boa. But awesome. Yeah. As this prolongs and you get 20 more hours in and you've done the side step and things like that, whenever we get further, we'll have to chat again.
I'll let you know when we finish the first triple.
Awesome. All right, man. So
awesome. Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, sure. My pleasure.
Talk to you later.
All right. Take care, guys.
Yeah, okay. You too.
All right.
Damn it.
Taras left the meeting.